Manticore is a 5-star ambusher specialist from Sargon. She's a debuff DPS with 0 block, who specializes in slowing or stunning large groups of enemies, and being deceptively survivable with dodge and anti-taunt. Manticore's talent, Hidden Killer, makes her by default invisible. This used to be untargetable since it would work through Technical Scout's anti-invisibility, but this seems to have been fixed. Her first attack out of this invisibility will deal significant bonus damage, and after a few seconds of not attacking, she'll regain invisibility. For skills, Scorpion Venom is a passive that applies a high uptime significant slow to all enemies hit. Once the skill is leveled, the slow lasts longer than it takes Manticore to attack, meaning outside of rare situations where an enemy reduces slow duration or attack speed, it's a permanent AoE debuff for enemies in her range, one of the only sources of permanent slow in the game. Her second skill, Toxic Overload, is a solid uptime DPS skill that slows Manticore's attack speed, but also lets her hit a lot harder and stun for a short duration every attack. Once she's promoted to Elite 2, the attack speed reduction drops Manticore's attack speed to just a tiny bit slower than it takes her talent's invisibility to reactivate, giving another massive damage boost to each attack by activating her talent, and also meaning you should avoid using her with operators like Angelina, who buff attack speed if you're using her S2. Manticore's skills both get consistently stronger for each mastery, with her S1 slowing a bit more and for longer, and her S2 doing a bit more damage, having slightly better skill duration and stunning for longer. If you're using her to group enemies up, you'll want to use her S1. As a DPS, her S2. For most situations, her utility as a permanent AoE DPS slower massively exceeds her S2 DPS potential, making her S1 masteries deceptively worthwhile. Manticore is incredible for clumping units together with her permanent slow, even more so with her module. Just drop her ahead of your units or in a key choke point, and enemies will show up low on HP and cluster together. Or, for weaker enemies, won't even make it to your other operators. The downside being, as with all 0 block units, you'll need another unit to hold the lane outside of rare cases where her DPS is enough to take them out. She works well with AoE, as well as units like Prudence who need enemies to have lost HP. Her level 1 module is a pretty strong permanent slow that stacks with her S1, especially good versus fast enemies. Level 2 and 3 is a minor but extremely expensive damage buff to her second skill. Only the first level is worth worrying about. Due to her low attack speed, Mod 1 can easily be the difference between Manticore being able to hit fast enemies before they get past her, or leaking entirely. Manticore can be guaranteed with the Specialist and Survival tag combo in Recruitment, or gotten through either Specialist plus DPS, a 50-50 with Cliffheart, or the General Specialist plus Senior Operator pool. Manticore was saved from dehydration and recruited by Stormeye, who she tracked into an aircraft and tried to assassinate. She can't really control her visibility, with her main forms of communication being written notes to the Doctor. She collects dog tags from the Fallen as proof of their existence. Manticore is afraid of being cured of her oropathy, since she believes without her invisibility and use as an assassin, she wouldn't have any value.